Hey everyone, my name is Paula Whitelocke and you are tuned in to the Griot and me. I actually was born and raised here in Ottawa, but my parents, though, came from their respective islands in the 70s. My dad's from Jamaica, Westmoreland, and my mom is from Maho, which is in Dominica. I think that I had I want to say a fun childhood. I had great experiences within the community. My parents were always involved. They always had my sister and I going to different events. Remember when Jamaica Day was at Britannia? Do you remember? Those were the days. So I had a great experience growing up in Ottawa. I think that one of the biggest challenges I can recall would be going from a private school. We grew up going to private school up until grade 3, and then middle of grade 3, we moved to the West End, and then we were put into public school. And that was like the biggest shock of my life. You know, I can still like recall to this day not knowing what rap music really was, not swearing, not really being surrounded by like different cultures at that time, because the private school was it was pretty much me, my sister, and that other kid, you know? So in the public school, it was like, we all were like, and so that was really cool when I look back at it now, but in that moment in time, it was actually quite challenging because I didn't know how to always connect with my own people, interestingly enough. The embracing of cultural differences, I think that Ottawa does a great job at representing every different culture. There's always somebody within a community that is willing and wants to take on the role of making sure that everybody gets exposed to their cultural background, and I think that it's such a beautiful thing in this city. So that's probably the thing I've seen change the most, is just the rise in different cultures being represented out loud, you know, at City Hall, at the Horticultural Building, where they do, you know, the cultural days throughout the year. So it's been really great to see that exposure and that rise of cultures, of the arts community, just of people really commanding like what they want and doing what they need to do to make sure that we all get a little touch of it. The work that I do, so I'm a hairstylist, but there's so much more involved with styling hair. More recently, I have really dug into owning the fact that I'm also an educator. And so within that, when my clients do come in here, we are going through education first. You know, what do you do to your hair now? What would you like it to look like versus like, and even just the embracing of what it looks like. We'll get a lot of clients that come in and have never seen their curl pattern before. So they have this ideal of what they'd like their hair to look like. And I feel like it's our job in here to help the client embrace whatever their hair does for them. You know, I'm like, let's see what it does. Let's learn to love that, because there's no mistakes made in your hair type, okay? So that's a piece of the work that I do. And so it's a lot of self-love, a lot of self-empowerment, a lot of acknowledgement of self-worth, you know, a lot of breakdown of societal pressures of having our hair look a certain way, but it does not. This is the way that it looks, so let's love and embrace that. So just a lot of love. A lot of inner work. My work has changed to the highest degree, and it's changed in such positive ways. I think that when I started business, when I opened the salon, I was 21, and I just wanted to do hair. You know, I just wanted a space to do hair out of, and now yes, like I have this space, and I realize that we do so much than just do hair. We do a lot of inner work. We do a lot of helping people understand what they have, what they were given. Right now, I'm in 10 years. I've been in business for 10 years. I'm going on a decade, and it feels really good. I feel like the vision of success, or whatever my version of success was, has really shifted over the years. It used to look like bigger space, more staff, more. Now it's actually, how much time do I have to spend with my nephew? How much time do I have to be with my family on the weekend, or my friends, or invest time in my music? You know, so I think that that's really shifted a lot over the last decade. But specifically for 2020, it's a focus on education. For myself as an educator, I do have a curl tour where I'll be going to the west coast of Canada and hitting up every major city and teaching what I know. And it's also about getting Ria, which is a stylist that I do have in the salon with me, as an apprentice, as getting her comfortable and just helping her build her confidence as a stylist. And so those are the kind of two most important things for curly hair designs in 2020. So I feel like artistry is something that we all have within us, whether it's knitting, whether it's, you know, sketching, whether it's, for me, singing. There's just something, there's more to us than just like the surface. And when I really dive deep, music is that thing that allows for a different type of expression. I think that through hair, I'm able to express so beautifully, and I'm just now taking the chance and grabbing the opportunity and using the gifts that I was given by God to just share different stories in a different way. So, music by Paula will be releasing her first single in February. I'm so excited. It just happens to be Black History Month. Ooh, who knew? So it's just like I'm just like taking this life and grabbing it by the horns and really just utilizing all the gifts that I have inside. The most important thing is to listen to the client and read through the lines. I think that everybody has a kind of layman's terms that we'll speak on, and through those layman's terms, there's so much underneath that surface, and you just have to keep asking the questions and keep having the conversations and find a way to understand what they're trying to say, but also know that you have the expertise that they are coming in to receive, and being confident in that knowledge as well. If we're interacting with somebody, to make sure that we really are, you know, hearing, to like listening to hear, not to respond type of behavior. Because there's a lot of stories that come with hair. There's a lot of trauma behind those stories, and some clients have not been into a salon, a physical salon space for 10 years because their last experience was traumatic. So it's really important that we're listening to our clients and finding a sense of comfort, helping them find a sense of comfort in our space. Hair is the first thing I think that most people see when they look at somebody. I know for me, it's definitely the first thing that I see. And when we go back in time and we're talking about styles like braids, we're talking about styles like locks that represent an entire community. Braids in days of slavery, when there was that one day that maybe some people had off on a Sunday, they would take time to take care of their hair. And I think that we have unfortunately over the years fallen into and felt like forced into the Eurocentric version of beauty. In 2020, like, I don't penalize anybody for their long hair they want to wear, for that lace front they want to put, like the braid, really, it's like, who cares? It's about what makes you feel comfortable. but I feel like there is a common respect that I have for certain styles. I used to wear my hair in cornrows all the time because I felt like it represented a piece of me as a Black woman. I felt like it was my pride to wear cornrows. The same way I feel like these locks are pride as a Black woman. Like, this is me. Like, take me, leave me, but this is how I feel comfortable. So now I don't feel like I need to have my hair look long to feel beautiful. I don't need to have it look like what society may expect it to look like. So I think that hair is one of these things where I choose to drop the societal expectations and the societal norms, quote unquote, that have been created for Black folk. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna recreate that for myself. And I encourage my clients to do that, especially the clients that work in private sector, that work in government, that don't want to be the only one on the floor with their natural hair being sported. And they don't want to be the one poked and prodded and asked if they can be touched. But I think that there's a bit of re-education that is able to happen there. I know that's not our job, and I know it is tiring. It is tiring. I do though feel like when you have the strength in you to do it, you do it. And that's a strength that I was given. That's another one of my gifts, you know? So when I do have the opportunity to re-educate somebody around the reality that this is like my biology, this is like what was chosen for me. I did not choose my hair type. So what statement am I really making by wearing my hair naturally, how it came out of my head? That's something that Miss South Africa said, winning Miss Universe. This is just how the hair grows. Was it Miss Universe or was it Miss USA? Thank you. That's what Miss South Africa said about her being commended on wearing her natural hair as she took that crown. This is biology. This is just how she was born. So it's like, thanks, but not really. Oh, so much. Like looking outside, even though there's snow everywhere, that peace and calm, that tranquility, that's inspiring. The fact that with all the hustle and bustle in the world, there can still be peace and calm at the end of the day, in the morning when you wake up. God inspires me, my nephew inspires me, my friends inspire me, you inspire me. There's so many things. Music inspires me, the arts inspire me. My colleagues inspire me. Nature inspires me so much. Water inspires me. Water is just, it's like what our body's mostly made of, and it's one of those bodies that we have all over this planet. It connects all of us, I think, and I love the ocean. I love being in the ocean. It makes me feel like things are not that big. Like when your little body's in an ocean, in a big ocean, and when you've seen whales, when you've been I was in Vancouver and there were several pods of whales all around us. I felt so small. I'm like, what is really to this life? Like, what is there really in this life? And it just allows you to observe the world differently. I think it just allows me to observe the world differently. The waves and the motions and the fact that everything crashes, but they all come back together, and they're all really one thing. Loaded question. What has life taught me about myself? I'm resilient. That there's nothing I cannot do. That it's best to focus on what I can do. Life has taught me that there's a reason and a season. and that we're not put through what we can't handle. In Jesus' name. Life has taught me that even through the roughest times, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Life has taught me that I don't need to understand everything or everyone, even though I really want to. I really do, but it's not the reality. To accept people for who they are and to take them as they come or leave them there, instead of expecting people to change and understand or see things your way. Everybody has a different way of perceiving that same thing. So it's not my job to make you understand my point of view. I'll invite you into my point of view. I also understand that you may not receive my point of view in the way I'd like you to receive it. So I think the biggest thing is acceptance. Acceptance of self first, because if I can't even accept things within myself, then how can I ever ask somebody to expect something within me? More openness with, I think, just more self-reflection. I'm a believer in therapy, I believe in counseling, I believe in mindfulness work, I believe in energy, very much. I believe that God created a lot of things on this earth, a lot of people and things that help as resources that allow us to in turn elevate ourselves, our mind, our body, our spirit. You know, there's 3 separate things to work on. And so I feel like it's important to be open to the resources that are at our, like right at our reach, and not just grab onto the one thing you know. Be open to the fact that there's several things that can actually help you get to where you're always destined to be. I think that we have a lot of cultural conditioning to work through. And I know that my journey with that breakdown of that cycle, that generational cycle, has been long, and it continues. It's lifelong. I'll be working through that for the rest of my days, and I'm okay with that. So I think that for me, the first step was to acknowledge that there was a cycle. There were places that I was making decisions from that actually were very unconscious. So choosing to step into a conscious state of mind has taken working with specific people to open up different realms that have been closed off just because they haven't been used. They were never invited to be seen or heard. So it's just that reminder of, you know, like, I see you. I want to say something telling me to say I see you. Sometimes we just don't feel seen, we don't feel heard, so therefore we don't feel like we can speak up and there's anybody to speak to. But there are people who understand, who have the ability to relate and help inspire you through whatever is being suppressed. I think that's one of the biggest things is acknowledging, letting things come to the surface, all the yucky stuff. Because it hurts, it's not easy, it feels really yucky. But I'm like, on the other side of that is so much glory. And once you suppress things in life, they turn into illness. They turn into ailments in the body. They turn into that knee that aches you, and they turn to that back that breaks you. So I just invite people to know that you don't have to sit with that in your body. You can actually invite your body to release those things. To me, it means this. It means being open to dialogue. It means being open to telling the truth of my experiences in my 31 years of life. It means continuing to sing and use that as a way to tell stories. It means just continue to be the most authentic self and choose to share that with people that want a piece of that. And know that not everybody, it's not for everybody. Like, I'm not for everybody, the story's not for everybody, and finding a comfort and a peace in that, in knowing that there's more people that want to hear the stories and want to connect on that level.